I'm so glad that everyone could join us. We are also live streaming to our Facebook page to talk to the community at large about Excel Prep. Just to introduce myself, my name is Landria Seals Green, and wait, I don't think I'm sharing the right page. 1 second. Let me start again and share my screen. One more time. Just share this screen. Okay, sorry about that. So we are live streaming to our Facebook page and wanted to have this first meeting to introduce ourselves as Excel Prep. And we are a K-3 school focused on learners who have an identified, standardized identified, or a parent or parent identified level of neurodiversity. And we wanted to provide some information about the school that will be opening August 16th, 2023. So this year. I'm your presenter for today. My name is Landria Seals Green. Here are all the places that you can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and also Facebook. And I put my philosophy in here just to kind of level set the perspective about this particular school and to help frame the why of it all. So I am a parent I'm a parent, and I'm also a provider. I've been an interventionist, a practitioner for over 20 years, and in the fields of behavior analysis and speech pathology, but also globally, just as a trainer and educator to other therapists, including teachers, and how to implement discrete, direct instruction as it relates to learners inside of an educational classroom and even in the private sector or private clinic. So at Excel Prep, we are focused on educating the whole child and honoring their individual differences. And by that, we mean more than individual educational or academic differences, but the makeup of our children and how they need to every day not only interact with adults and educators and an educational team that enjoys their presence, but will honor their differences on a day-to-day basis, meaning that's how we work. We want to foster an academic environment that is nurturing for learners K-3. So about us, we are a day school, meaning that we are open during the standard day of what it means to educate a child in a school program. So an 8:15, 8:10 start, a 2:45 end time on Monday through Friday. We are focused on learners who are neurodiverse, and this can include children who have dyslexia, who have nonverbal learning disabilities, expressive or receptive language challenges, executive functioning challenges, and also autism. And I will give some background. I will always say that I grew up as a clinician on the East Coast in Connecticut. And I worked at a private school that serviced children, that provided a school day for children who had a range of challenges. abilities and disabilities, a neurodiverse population, if you will. And it's something that I've worked in as a speech pathologist, as a behavior analyst, and it's also something on that same vein, training and working in public schools and private schools to help support and foster what it means to have a concentrated experience for a learner who has who needs specific instruction. And centering direct instruction means that we are looking at instructional design. And instructional design means it's more than an IEP. It's an ongoing level of formulating a plan of instruction, not for the child, but for the team. Formulating that particular instructional design, a script maybe for some people, but also alongside that, the precision of teaching and what it means to be precise in teaching and the data collection and the analysis. And when we begin with the frame of direct instruction, we're talking about a theoretical framework. And the theoretical framework is not saying that we're going to use Orton Gillingham, we're going to use SLANT as an instructional tool, we're going to use EdMark, all of those programs that we place upon children. And what happens when we place programs upon children, it is less than customized because the instructor may not know how to tweak it for the learner. But when you frame things from a perspective, a theoretical framework of instructional design and direct instruction, you are really teaching the instructor, the educator, the teacher, the interventionist to be able to frame items, to be able to frame reading, writing, math, social skills, vocabulary, increasing vocabulary, increasing expressive language. You're really framing that based upon how we are designing a program. And it's evidence-based, and quite frankly, direct instruction is founded at the University of Illinois. A long time ago, it was founded by Dr. Siegfried Engelmann, and he founded direct instruction. In fact, most people who utilize direct instruction on the East and West Coast used to convene here in Champaign, Illinois, because that's where they would conference. So we are centering direct instruction because it works. Centering direct instruction, instructional design, and precision teaching as the hallmark of how we work at Excel Prep, also meaning that it is data-driven and founded in educational research. Our program means, and within our program, we have reading blocks, writing blocks, math blocks. And in those blocks, those are ability-based. So if a child is in kindergarten and they're reading at a second grade level, and they are writing at a kindergarten level, during those blocks of time, they will move to their content-focused instructor who will be teaching them at the level that they are on. This means that a child within a school year should be and can move from one instructor group to another instructor group, because we are data collecting. We are analyzing our data based upon the instructional design. So our reading, writing, and math blocks are ability-based, regardless of their set grade. And speech and language therapy is a class that everyone has. That class can be 3-to-1, 1-to-1, but it is provided every day. I will also include that our group sizes, our group sizes are no more than 10-to-1. See. So our mission is that we are committed to the education and success of children who learn differently. And as a parent, I have a child. Well, I have 2 children who learn differently, and one fits into a traditional model, and the other does not quite fit into a traditional model. So I really, along with another group of some groups of a group of parents in the community created this program because our children need it. So all, including my own, will be starting in August, because we are committed to the education and success of children who learn differently and want to foster the academic and social development of those children within a supportive learning environment. So our teaching philosophy is that education will meet behavior science. So I have a background in behavior science. It has strengthened how I work as a speech language pathologist. It has strengthened how I work as a trainer and coach to teachers and other behavior analysts who are looking to provide an educational experience for children that really meets their needs. And so we honor children by taking the time to understand them, to listen to them, to observe how they demonstrate knowledge, and to shift based upon how we teach with what they are demonstrating. So student-teacher connections are important within academic instruction. And we also believe in the use of technology, assistive technology, hands-on activities. I'll give you an example. So you have a learner who has identified dyslexia or a symptomology that would say that this person has dyslexia, then using a number line with them is not, in math instruction, is not the best use of a tool. Because if a person is already orienting to text differently, then using a number line will only confuse them. So even though that is a standard use of a tool, when it comes to teaching learners who are not quite grasping math, it is counterintuitive. And it is putting a load, if you will, on the learner to have to go through not just one barrier, but two barriers, perhaps three, just to demonstrate what they know in math. And so in thinking about not only student-teacher connections, but the use of hands-on activities, using an abacus and teaching them early on how to access a calculator, and then also teaching them how to use the strength of how they learn to be able to demonstrate their math computation skills. And so it's more than reading. It is about developing an independent thinker, because that's what it means to be a literate individual, to be an independent thinker, and to also give them space to communicate their needs. So our school programs, we have the K-3, we have a K-3 program, and then we also have an academic program focused on ABA for learners who are ages 6 to 11. And the referrals can come to us by parent referral and or by school district referral. And we would, for the academic ABA program, we are really leaning heavily towards school day referrals. We have a number of children who in this community who are receiving ABA therapy services that are more medically based, if you will, and that only goes up to a certain age. And the academic instruction is shocking to the child and to the parent. But more so to the child inside of a classroom. Some children will go and they will thrive. There are others who really need a good transition and who really need this type of instruction, that one-to-one instruction, 1-to-3 instruction, and then be able to transition into the larger 10-to-1 group and receive that type of instructional model. So the level of direct instruction, the level of precision teaching is rooted in behavior science, and our K-3 program, as well as the academic ABA program, will also benefit from that instruction. And if you are have any questions, please feel free to put them inside of the chat and I will see them. We'll be able to see them. And in the middle here, you will see that we have the communicated self-advocacy through social skills instruction, through social groups and social emotional development. Both learners, children who are neurodiverse, all of these learners, the children who are neurodiverse, don't often have the opportunity to develop communication autonomy, to be able to say no, to be able to reject, to be able to affirm, and then to get instruction where they learn how to develop conversation skills, develop play skills, and play is not always cooperative, in meaning that the person with the disability is always saying yes, because many times you want to say no. And we are thinking long term to develop communication autonomy in adults. We have to start with children. And so this is part of our program as well, and really why we are having speech and language as a class. So here is our, just more about the teaching philosophy and our program: instruction and assistive technology for reading and math, and also direct instruction, which I spoke about earlier. And then there's the homeschool partnership. How many of you, and I'll include myself, have learners and you may not know not only what they're doing, but homeschool, you may not know what they're doing, may not even understand how they're doing it as far as academic instruction is going. But if academic instruction is occurring versus a functional curriculum, we focus on an academic curriculum that supports the functioning of the individual. My personal philosophy is that if we are doing all of this work for our kids to be in terms of the expense of school and intervention, and we should be able to see the proof of that in their progress and in the planning for them in their future. And so that homeschool partnership is important. How we will begin there is our learners who attend Excel Prep as young as kindergarten will receive 30 minutes of homework every night. This homework will be the demonstration of items and skills that they have, will be items and skills that they have demonstrated success with at school. And I'm not saying a minimum of 30, a max of 30 minutes, because we do need homeschool connections. And I don't often see, as a practitioner, learners with special education needs always getting homework the way that learners who fit the mold academically receive homework. And homework, the perspective being home practice, will give the child, the learner, another environment to practice success, and it will strengthen the school-home partnership. Success inside of a classroom, success inside of a therapy room or intervention room is wonderful. But success inside of a home and community and demonstrated skills in those real places are the proof in the pudding of how we work. And at Excel Prep, that philosophy is embedded here in this particular partnership. Okay. So who do we serve? Learners who have speech and language challenges, executive functioning challenges, autism, dyslexia, dyscalculia, which is the learning disability related to math, and dysgraphia, the learning disability related to writing. And those kids fit a category of neurodiverse. And yes, there is a profile of a learner. that we think that we can best serve now. And yes, there are plans to think about what grades, what happens after third grade. There are some kids who will continue to need this type of instruction, but our role, how we see it today, is to be able to provide some concentrated instruction, and then, sure, we can expand our program, and we can also think, what does it look like to transition a child who has received specific instruction back into their community school setting, so that they can also demonstrate, they can thrive there. And that is a lot of district partnership, that is teacher partnership, that is parents partnership. It will take us to all collaborate to support children who learn differently. So how will we do this? Provide a nurturing school environment. So hiring right and well is important. So people who have the sameness in personal philosophy in how all brains can learn, and how even children who may use who have reduced expressive language and speech abilities still should get instruction in reading and have the ability to demonstrate reading and reading comprehension. And how does that look? Well, it looks like instruction and programming and instructional design, but it also begins with the philosophy of the teacher and the individual, the adult responsible for teaching them. I am a child of a teacher. My mother is a teacher, and well, she's retired, but she was a teacher. And she would always say that no matter the school your child goes to, your child's education is as good as the adult standing in front of them. And it's true, regardless of the private, parochial, public school setting, it is the adult. So providing a nurturing school environment begins with hiring right and well, and then providing a supportive environment for the people that work there. And we talk about teacher shortages and the wellness and how people need to belong. And it begins, the workplace is critical for that. So the nurturing school environment is a responsibility for us. And also direct instruction. We have, in thinking of creating this particular school, I reached out to mentors of my own who are gurus in direct instruction, if you will, and who reminded me that they used to convene at the university for this particular instruction. And I reached out and said, while I know and understand direct instruction, I also understand that mentorship should not just be from one. Mentorship needs to be, in this case, a circle of mentorship. And so we have people who have committed to providing ongoing professional development, education, and instruction, mentorship for our teaching staff. That's our grade level teachers, our focused, concentrated interventionists who are bachelor's degree in a related field, and who will be providing that 3-to-1, 1-to-1 instruction that children will need if they require it in those small reading blocks, reading, writing, math blocks. And then we also believe in the how of a data story. The data story, the quantitative data that says, how is this child doing? Did they receive 40% when we were trying to work on these particular sight word fluency? They received 40%. And we ask ourselves, how did they receive 40%? What did we do right? And what can we do better as adults who were teaching them? So not the 40% of how the child is learning or is not learning, using it as a path to understand what we need to do better from an instructional perspective so that 40% moves up. So the data story and progress monitoring is also anecdotal. Like, you know, the child came in happy. He really enjoyed using the abacus, and therefore his data for doing math computation improved. And then having those tools and that anecdote along with the numerical information to give us insight into how your child is learning, what we are doing to teach them, and then the home practice of saying, this is where we found success. Let me show you how. And then giving that to parents and supporting them as they work with their children at home. I don't know any parents who, without information, education, and training, and even access to resources, would not want the best for their children. Now, while there are some anomalies on either end, when people are given real information, they are able to grab hold of it, and they are able to promote success for their children, and they feel a sense of accomplishment. So we want that for the families at Excel Prep, and we want that for the people who attend. The nuts and bolts is that we will be open Monday through Friday. Drop-off time will begin at 7:45, and the school day will begin at 8:10. It will end at 2:45 p.m. Our calendar will soon be available for 2023-2024 school year. Inside that calendar, we have scheduled days of professional development for our staff, and our school day begins August 16th of this year. Our team includes grade level teachers, content-focused interventionists, behavior analysts, speech language pathologists, art music specialist staff. And we are currently hiring well, and we are also enrolling students. It is a tuition-based school. We are writing grants to help support people to help support our program, because we believe in being able to provide all of these types of, not amenities. We believe in this program. I've seen it work. I've helped develop it for other people. And so in this particular community, I had a personal need, and I needed a place for my child to be able to go and receive this type of instruction, not after school, because after school, she is tired. After school I am tired. Our family has things to do after school. Within a school day, I wanted my child to be able to access this type of instruction and learning. I didn't want the after school option to also be labor intensive for my child and for my family. Her best time of learning was during the day, her optimal time of learning. And when we talk about optimizing things for adults, I'm thinking about how do we optimize things for children? And it often looks like understanding when they learn best, how they learn best, and meeting them where they are. So welcome to Excel Prep. Our why. We believe that children should be honored, and their time should be honored and not wasted. Not wasted in how they learn, not wasted in thinking about how what we do today impacts their future. We are beginning with the end in mind, how we integrate research and teaching practices, how we think about instructional design and progress monitoring. It should be honored in how families are supported and how teachers are educated, trained, and mentored. It is our hope that we are doing this type of educational model because I think people need something different. Children definitely, adults need something different. Children need something different, and parents have been asking for something different for a very long time. So again, welcome to Excel Prep. You can visit our website to learn about the enrollment process. And I am going to put my email in the chat. And you can feel free to email me. I'm Landria at excelprepschools.com. And feel free to email me directly. Our enrollment process is here. And if there are no more questions, I appreciate the time that everyone has taken today to attend. And